this is Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow with another edition of Healthy Living for Expansions.com. Today we are going to make a brisket, and not just any brisket, this is a buffalo brisket today. So I want you to look at what I have. This is about a 7-pound buffalo brisket, and if you do beef, which you can do the same thing, most likely they're going to be a little bit smaller than this, but that's okay. This will just give you an example of some of the things that we cook. Now, I want to show you about the foil because this is actually a heavy-duty foil, but you can get it in this big box, which is long and is really easy to cover your pans. And they're a little bit more expensive. They run anywhere from $25 to $40, but for me, this has lasted me over a year, and I cook a lot. So it's just really handy to do if you have some kind of food service, a place in your area where you can get this. Look for this type of a box so that you can easily cover your pans. It makes it a lot easier for cleanup. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, and you can season this any way you want, but this is apple cider vinegar and it helps to tenderize it. So I'm going to put this just over the top, and that will help. And if it falls out a little on the side again, that's okay, because it will all help to steam it and tenderize it. And if you have time, you can of course put it in the apple cider vinegar and let it sit overnight or for a couple of days to help it tenderize. It's up to you and what you have going on. Then I'm just going to sprinkle some organic black pepper on it. And also notice how the grains on this run. You can see it sometimes a little bit more before it's cooked. That's going to go over it. And then what happens is, because the grains run this way, when you actually are done baking it, you're going to cut it this way. And it will make it much more tender for you and easier to eat. So just keep that in mind. And then I'm just going to do something quick. This is an organic barbecue sauce that my family happens to like. And again, tomato sauce will also tenderize it. So you can also put on a can of tomato sauce or tomatoes in here if you prefer that. This is going to give it a little bit more of a sweeter taste. You can also sprinkle other herbs. Basil would be good on it, garlic, onion, any of your savory type of herbs would be good. But today I'm going to do a barbecue, just for something fun. And again, carb count, it's not bad. There are for 2 tablespoons, it's 10 carbs. So how many tablespoons am I using over the whole brisket? And this is going to serve a lot of people. So I'm not too concerned about that. And of course, some of it's going to fall off into the juices as well. But it will help to tenderize, it'll help to give it a good flavor. And once that's done, I'm going to actually close it up with the foil. And that's why it's so nice to have such long pieces of foil. I've done it in the smaller rolls, and you can cover it and then you try to wrap it together to make it into a bigger sheet. But what happens is the juices fall through and you wind up losing that. So this really helps keep your meat encased and a lot more tender. So that's going to go just like this. I have my oven heating at 300 degrees. And a brisket this size is probably going to take it somewhere around 3.5 to 4 hours. So, as soon as my oven is hot, we're just going to put it in, and that's basically all we do. But you do need to be home because it will take you a few hours. So, it's a good weekend thing to make if you're, or days that you're off, or in the evening for the next day. Then it's also very easy to make sandwiches out of it. You can freeze it. It's a really nice company dinner. If you're going to do a potluck of some kind, it's a nice thing to take with you. But anyway, like I said, as soon as my oven heats, we're going to stick it right in. The oven is preheated now to 300, so I'm going to put this brisket right in, just like we got it all tied up. And I'll probably check in maybe 2 or 3 hours, because once we open it up and the steam comes out, then you're going to start losing some of the juice and flavor. So probably maybe around 3 hours I'll check it and see how it looks. I went ahead and pulled this out. We're going to check it. This has been cooking for about 3.5 hours. So you can see the steam coming out. There's lots of nice gravy there. It's nice and tender, you can tell. And of course they do shrink down, but this is my meat fork, which I use for lifting my meat, which is really handy. And I put this over on my cutting board, maybe. There we go. Still very hot. All right, and remember what I told you about the grain. The grain goes this way. And just make sure Yep, so it means we want to cut it this direction against the grain. So I take a meat fork. So it's going this way, so we're going to, actually I'm going to turn this around, make it easier for me. Okay, and then we're just going to start slicing diagonally. See how nice and tender that is. Okay. And because we slice diagonally, it makes it a lot easier to eat, because the briskets are a little bit tougher cut, and that's why we cook it for a long time. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what to do and how to cook a brisket and how easy it is. You can use the leftover juices and make a gravy like I've shown you before, or just use as is. Or you can save them for your soup, so depending on what you like. For flavoring, you can feed it to your animals. Of course, as you know, I don't like to waste anything. Anyway, that's how you make a brisket. So, thank you for joining me, Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow, healthylivingforexpansions.com. Bye-bye.